We are honored to have with us a man who is successful at doing many things and the perfect person, therefore, to close out our Inspired Are You Future Ready conference. The closing keynote will be delivered by Mr. Kenneth Kwok. Kenneth is the founder and CEO of Global Citizen Capital, an impact-oriented venture focused on healthcare, biotech, logistics, technology, and education. He is also founder and president of Better Together Foundation and co-founder of Family Mask, one of our key partners for this conference. Join us as Kenneth, who is passionate about social impact work supporting minority communities, youth entrepreneurship, as well as health and well-being, summarizes the 5 days of the conference.
Hello, everyone. I am so excited because I get to close this amazing, Inspired Are You Future Ready conference. I mean, it has been a fantastic 5 days of programming. I have been dialing in, listening in, and more importantly, getting my extended community involved. Because for me, my inspiration is drawn from the other amazing, fantastic, and more importantly, passionate individuals that make this world not only go round, but also become more sustainable. For those who don't know me, my name is Kenneth. I run a impact venture called Global Citizen Capital. I'm also the co-founder of the MXA Group, as well as a few other startups, I suppose. But ultimately, they're all unified by a very common denominator, which I would like to call impact. Well, impactful, maybe, to be grammatically correct. In my humble age of 38, I have left the banking industry to pursue something that speaks to me personally as not only an individual or a global citizen, but more importantly, just one, organic piece of resource in many ways that live in this beautiful place called Earth. There is no planet B. As much as we like to believe that, oh, great, let's travel to Mars when things get wrong. For majority of the citizens of this world, that is not an option. So guess what? We all have to join hands together and ensure that this world will be a safe, secure, as well as livable place for our generation, our next generation, and the generations beyond it. I am very excited today because I rarely get to be this creative when it comes to conferences. Later on, I will be joined by 3 or 4 of my friends who also share a strong commitment to making the 17 sustainable goals a reality. And by the way, a quick shout out to my team who, knowing that I love, artistic interpretations or a bit of flair, actually set this up for me in my office. So thank you. You know who you are. So yes, today I will be speaking with Miss Jessie and Jaden Chung, founders of Family Mask. For those who don't know, there are Hong Kong-based manufacturers of surgical face masks. What makes the Family Mask story so meaningful and purposeful is that it has started as an impact startup. And for those of you who may not be aware of what that means, I'm sure you can take a wild guess. An impact startup is created when the mission of the founders is not purely on economical gain, but to really rectify injustices. In this case, as you can imagine during COVID-19, that would be a critical shortage of surgical grade personal protective equipment, also known as PPE, to a lot of healthcare workers, to a lot of at-risk communities. So later on, I'll be bringing in Jessie and Jaden. By the way, when you look at when she comes on, you'll be shocked at how young she is. And she is young. For someone in her 20s to start an impact startup that can benefit the communities during COVID-19, I think that's truly admirable. We'll also be speaking with 3 high school students. Why, you think, why would I involve high school students? Well, guess what? They are the future. They are the voice of the next generation. And frankly speaking, we need to listen more to them because the whole point of sustainability is to ensure that their generation gets to benefit from all the wonderful work that all the speakers at this particular conference over 5 days have taken in terms of actual tangible impact, no matter whether it's for profit, non-profit, or a hybrid. They have all done an amazing job inspiring all of us to be a better and more sustainable person. So yes, I would love to dedicate this closing session of the Inspired Conferences to not only the speakers I'm bringing on and have the privilege of interviewing, but more importantly, the entire management team of the Inspired Conference, especially run by Right Education based out of Malaysia, the meaningful business partnership, which I am proud to call myself a member, as well as all the supporting organizations which have made this amazing conference happen. So on that note, without further ado, I am going to welcome Ms. Jessie Chung and Mr. Jaden Chung to this wonderful conference. Thank you.
Hello, Kenneth. Thank you for having us join the closing session for Inspired Conference 2020. What a great 5 days of inspirational content indeed. My name is Jessie Chung, founder of Family Mask, and I'm here with my brother Jaden, my co-pilot.
Hi.
He's only 8 years old and he's already participated at his first SDG event as a young SDG leader for Jumpstart Kids program this summer. My personal SDGs are SDG 3, good health and well-being, SDG 5, gender equality, and SDG 12, responsible consumption and production. How about you, Jaden?
Oh, my SDG 14, life below water, because I really care about the ocean and I love turtles. I'm even wearing a pin.
So, Jaden, tell us how many turtles you have.
3.
For me, my SDGs come from the fact that I grew up and received education in first world cities, Hong Kong and London, and yet I still received injustice and prejudice for the fact that I am a petite Chinese girl. Growing up in quite a traditional family in the 90s, I was told that some activities were meant for girls, for example, dancing and playing the piano, and some activities were meant for boys and that girls should not participate. For example, martial arts, because girls should not be fighting. Society acceptance have definitely advanced since the 90s, and I understand that we are on a path of eliminating all forms of discrimination against all women and girls everywhere. However, it is now more important than ever that we need male voices in society to also advocate gender equality. SDG 3 and 12 are very important focus points for Family Mask, especially because of COVID-19. The world showed inefficient healthcare, and it is very important that we work together towards healthcare for all. It is also very important that we look after the environment while looking after the people. So while we produce face masks to protect the people, we are trying to do it in a way that minimizes carbon footprints. Family Mask is my second impact startup. Family Mask was born in 2020 to address the critical shortage of surgical grade PPE, not only for frontline healthcare workers, but also for other segments of our community, providing care to at-risk and marginalized communities. What makes our approach different is that we are not only the first surgical mask manufacturer from Hong Kong, which is a United Nations Global Compact member and is FDA approved, but also, and more importantly, the only company donating and distributing masks to all corners of the world, covering all quantities of need through an e-commerce platform. So far, our social impact work has seen over 1 million surgical masks donated across North America, Asia, Middle East, Africa, and many more around the world. And Jaden, you helped facilitate some of that, right?
Yeah, and with my 10 friends too.
So for the Inspired Conference, we are supporting Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which will take place in October, and this is our UN 75 initiative. We have a pink colored S99 premium edition mask to support this initiative. With the involvement of both speakers and participants of this conference, we were able to support more than 5 nonprofit organizations globally who work in the space of breast cancer research, rehabilitation, and prevention. It was an honor to launch this call to action and complete it with the support of the Inspired community. Thank you, Kenneth, for inviting me to share about Family Mask, and thank you to the organizational committee for the Inspired Conference.
Well, thank you, Jesse and Jaden. So I am sure some of you were like, whoa, someone in the 20s, and someone, I'm sure someone may have taken a guess, Jaden is only 7 years old. And by the way, Jaden, thank you so much for participating, because you are the next generation that will take over our planet. So having and seeing your passion about, SDG 14, life underwater, it's so inspiring. And I would also like to hear, thank you, Family Mask, because for those of you who have seen the social media, Family Mask has committed to donating thousands of masks to their Breast Cancer Awareness Month initiative in support of UN 75. And they are going to benefit some of the organizations nominated by the speakers as well as the participants of the Inspired Conference. Again, what makes this so purposeful in some ways is we actually taking a conference on impact and creating credible and tangible impact. Family Mask will be, along with me as a co-founder, doing a few activities during the UN 75 Decade of Action and Act for SDGs events. As you all can imagine, most of these events have turned virtual, which for an organization such as United Nations has been, not the most efficient transformation, let's put it that way. But at the same time, we're all learning. And the most important thing that we have to, as an impact community or an inspired community, is to understand the fact that regardless of what the situation can be, regardless of how much lemons fate seems to throw us, mankind, we can always, and we will always find a way to create impact and ensure that equality and advances towards equality are being pursued. Speaking of equality and partnerships, and I'm very sorry, my big head is covering SDG 16, sorry. I would love to bring on my next speaker, Miss Angelina Wah. She's a high school student, and she's definitely very committed to peace and equality. Well, I should not introduce her because that would spoil the surprise. So why don't we give a big round of virtual applause to bringing on Miss Angelina Wah.
Hi, Kenneth. Thank you for having me join the closing session for Inspired Conference 2020. My name is Angelina Wah. I'm 15 years old, and I'm from Hong Kong and currently studying at Phillips Exeter Academy. My personal SDGs are SDG 4, Quality Education, SDG 10, Reduce Inequalities, and SDG 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. For summer 2020, I launched my own SDG product titled the Onboard Foundation. The Onboard Foundation aims to provide an international and safe space for the new young generations to express their views and opinions, while also nurturing the rest to understand global issues. To maximize community involvement, the initiative will be carried out through the main website of the Onboard Foundation and an online community on the website. Young Women for Equality, our new initiative, aims to educate the public through regular posts about the current situation of our three main SDGs. And there will be self-posted entries from the members of the community on a weekly basis. There is no membership fee, and the website is accessible to all, including students of any age. For weekly webinars, the main topics will be focusing on economic inequality, such as the pay gap, social inequality, such as discrimination against the way a person looks, inequalities high school girls face all around the world. Some possible themes include inequality during the pandemic, inequality against girls, protection for the LGBTQ community, economic inequality, and microaggression. My SDG product coincides with the themes of future of work and the future of sustainability. On future of work, as an old adage goes, you can only be as efficient and effective as how safe and secure you feel in the world. To ensure that every person has access to equal rights to education and employment, Onboard Foundation continues to further dialogue amongst the youth communities to raise awareness to at-risk groups. Only a fully functional society can be sustainable. On the future of sustainability, there cannot be true sustainability without real equality. And unfortunately, in this world, there are too many systemic inequalities built within our ecosystem. It is my personal commitment that I use our foundation and its resources to provide a voice to the voiceless in this world. Thank you, Kenneth, for inviting me to share my thoughts as a next generation SDG advocate.
Well, thank you, Angelina, for that wonderful shout out to, well, frankly, anybody who wants and believes that as a high school student, you can create impact. I mean, what a better way to continue this conversation, because I love the name Onboard Foundation. You know why? Because to encourage sustainability across schools, across your workspace, across where you make money, or where you develop your skills. You see that there? I combined all 5 of the themes in one sentence, creatively. Okay, sorry, I can't be full of myself. Actually, thank you to my scriptwriter. But yes, to be able to create a tangible impact, you must have everyone, all the stakeholders on board. So again, I'm very proud to have the opportunity to work with Angelina this summer on the initiatives on Onboard Foundation. Next, before I jump to our next high school speaker, I just want to remind everyone that, you know, especially for Asia, this is month 6 of COVID-19. Wow, time flies, right? But guess what? We all adapted quite well in many ways. Some of you know I run a nonprofit as well called the Better Together Foundation. The foundation itself supports the education and economic empowerment of at-risk or marginalized youth across 6 countries in Asia. Some of them are from the gender so-called stigma or biased against gender societies, where girls are not given equal access to education. Some initiatives that we take are for the LGBTI plus community, where they continue to face ongoing oppression due to legal equality issues, as well as just, again, cultural stigma issues. We also engage in community initiatives that discriminate against the elderly, and we support a lot of youth to continue giving back to the generation that, frankly, without their input and support, we may not even have the world that we live in right now. So I'm very proud to say that, even during COVID-19, the foundation itself has continued with numerous initiatives, which features, the likes of corporate partners such as IBM, such as the WEF community, as well as various agencies within the United Nations and the 17 organizations and agencies network. And of course, my favorite shout out is also to Swire, as well as Cathay Pacific, who have been sponsoring some of our projects for donating, as well as transferring important resources to needy communities across Asia. So thank you so much. Without further ado now, let's bring on our next high school student, Sami Samye Ho. When I think of Sami, I think of someone who is super resilient, because let's face it, how many high school students think that mental health is something that should be addressed on a peer-to-peer level? Many existing mental health support organizations, as you may be aware, at least in Asia, are run by adults who frankly takes a top-down approach. I think there's no better way for mental health and its related issues to be solved and addressed between students or, frankly, children of the same age. So, welcome, Sami. I would love to hear from you about your thoughts on how and what you are doing with Shall We Talk Foundation can be scaled to help more people in need. Thank you, Sami.
Hi, Kenneth. Thank you for having me join the closing session for Inspired Conference 2020. My name is Sami Ho Samye. I'm currently 17 years old and I'm studying in Dean College. I was born in the year 2003. My personal SDGs are SDG goals 3, 4, and 10. For summer 2020, I have launched my own SDG project titled Project Angelland and my very own foundation, Shall We Talk Foundation, which aims to address the gap of traditional mental health services and approaches that are no longer sufficient to address the unique barriers that young people like us face today in accessing mental health support. Project Angelland presents a very strategic opportunity for youth to become angels on the line to support similarly affected youth. The coordination mechanisms are implemented thoroughly. How this whole thing works is that there are two primary parties involved: angels, which are the team peer crisis intervention specialists, and the mentees, which are the peers in need of mental health support. Angels are equipped with a manual derived from common knowledge and multidisciplinary professional research and guidelines, which includes disciplines like psychotherapy, aromatherapy, psychology, and theater. And these angels are becoming trained listeners, and they can support sympathetically and professionally at a forefront role. My SDG project coincides with the theme of future of skills and the future of sustainability. On the future of skills, my initiative ensures that everyone, no matter whether you're a student, you can be a teacher, a professional, or a retiree, all can perform and contribute their 100% on a meaningful cause. It is critical to focus on a wider spectrum of skills and tools needed to support youth mental health. And on future of sustainability, health and well-being has always been an important part of sustainability, especially under COVID-19. The impact on mental health by the direct and indirect causes of the pandemic has been extremely significant. And I hope Shall We Talk Foundation can help inspire others to lead with positivity as well. Thank you, Kenneth, for inviting me to share my thoughts as a next generation SDG advocate.
Wow. Thank you so much, Sami, for that. I mean, I think it is so refreshing to hear that even during COVID-19 times, you're doing everything you can to inspire as well as empower your peers to address the all too important issue of mental health. For me, and here's my moments of vulnerability, working from home all the time, looking at the four walls, they do seem to get, closer and closer to you every day. So yes, mental health issues definitely do impact not only youth, but also adults. So I would like to take this opportunity to make sure that anyone listening out there to remind each other to ask a very simple question. Are you okay today? And be honest about it. You know, we have our ups and downs. We are human beings. But I think sometimes just letting each person know that despite all the pressure, especially peer pressure that comes with social media, am I good looking enough? Am I fit enough? Am I active enough? Am I, making enough money? All these things can absolutely add to the pressure of living. And sometimes I do see friends living dual lives. They lead a certain life on social media, and their actual normal life is nothing like that. I would definitely encourage everyone to take this opportunity to learn more about mental health. There are a lot of online resources there. And frankly, Shall We Talk Foundation will have an amazing manual soon to share with everyone. So yes, definitely. Thank you so much again for shedding light on mental health. And of course, look at number 3, good health and well-being. You also have to look after your physical health as well. So my next and final speaker is someone I believe will allow all of us to see not just climate action, but more importantly, ocean preservation in a different light. For those who know me, I am absolutely someone who loves oceans. When I'm sad and lonely, I would walk along beaches at night and just hearing the sounds of waves and imagining all the amazing organic interaction that's happening under sea level kind of makes me happy. I mean, maybe that's why one of my favorite cartoons growing up is Little Mermaid. But yes, I think the ocean ecosystem is such an important part of ensuring sustainability. I mean, think about it. How much seafood we eat on a daily basis as human beings. And frankly, a lot of us don't even know what goes on under the ocean because we can't see it. So I think ocean preservation and conservation, especially looking after marine life, is definitely a very important topic. And before I introduce Ms. Hillary Yu, I would also like to point out that during COVID-19, a lot of us are absolutely missing interaction with the ocean. A lot of beaches are closed, a lot of island destinations are closed. So as part of this Inspired conference, I would also encourage everyone to think about supporting the smaller island states. When travel does open up, do maybe visit, purchase products from small island states that traditionally relies on tourism as their main source of income, to see whether we can lend a helping hand to those communities that are living in such countries and geographies. Well, Hillary, this is your moment. I am so happy that you agreed to do this, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Hello, Kenneth. Thank you for having me join the closing session for Inspired Conference 2020. My name is Hillary Yu. I'm 16, and I'm currently studying at Downhouse School in the UK, and I was born in 2004. My personal SDGs are SDG 4, 13, and 14. And for summer 2020, I launched my own SDG project titled Better Wiser Foundation. So Better Wiser Foundation aims to educate the public about the effects of climate action arising from global warming on marine life. Most of the marine ingredients used are irreplaceable and will affect our lives massively shall they no longer can reproduce within their own ecosystems. Within the foundation, there will be a self-regulating mechanism which will govern the initiative through setting goals, achieving them, and measuring the initiative on a periodic basis. As an example, the goal for this initiative is to spread awareness about much needed climate action and life underwater preservation, specifically marine life, to a wider audience. Every week, the audience will be predetermined, and the progress towards a goal will be tracked and checked to make sure that the organization is moving in the correct path. My SC project coincides with the themes of future of schools and future sustainability. On the future of school, schools need to become a central information source for all students wishing to become more impactful and sustainable in their lives. It is up to us youth to carry out the great work of the world's top experts. On the future of sustainability, climate action requires the participation of everyone, including individuals, organizations, and countries. As a youth, I have learned from the speakers at Inspired on how to further my work in ocean preservation. Thank you, Kenneth, for inviting me to share my thoughts as a next generation SDG advocate.
Well, thank you so much, Hillary, for that. And as I previously said, oceans is kind of my calling. And I think a few of my spirit animals are also living in the ocean. So thank you so much for shining a spotlight on the importance of SDG 14, as well as the general efforts for ocean preservation and conservation. Now, I think I will generally, at the end of every conference, or at least my session, again, to once again say thank you to all the speakers, Ms. Jessie Chong and Mr. Jaden Chong from Family Mask, as well as Ms. Angelina Wah, Ms. Sami Samye Ho, and of course, Ms. Hillary Yu for joining me today at the Inspired Conference, Are You Future Ready? Impact event. I would like to take this moment as well to take a deeper dive for a little bit about the topics of this particular conference, which frankly separates it from a lot of the other impact conferences that we've been in. The ability to combine the issues of schools, work, money, skills, and sustainability, even though they are just 5 very simple words, do really encapsulate what one person does when he wakes up in the morning to the moment he closes his eyes and go to bed. Human beings are rather simple if you think about it. We are born into this world. We are taught certain things we have to do every day. For example, if you don't brush your teeth and wash your face in the morning, somehow, you don't feel very comfortable. I would hope that one day our entire generation would feel like, not being sustainable, using a plastic straw, getting a plastic bag, would feel that type of unease. And of course, there's many important ways that we can help make this planet sustainable. But I always like to start with the small things. So for me, I committed to 3 climate change initiatives recently under the Act Now campaign of United Nations. Number 1, 5-minute showers. I know it sounds crazy for a guy, right? You wash the hair, wash the face, and I'm sorry, I do wash my face twice. Maybe that takes longer. But you know what? Turn off the tap between washes, right? I always have this bad habit of showering and leaving the water on while I soap up. Nope, press a button. I wish, I have something called, hey Siri, turn off the tap now, right? Until that gets, and becomes commercialized, 5-minute showers. Number 2, I try to buy produce that's produced in communities or farms close to me to reduce carbon footprint. So definitely shop local produce. I mean, if I'm buying my vegetables or fruits from Hong Kong farms rather than Thailand, guess what? They don't need to be shipped over. So definitely support local businesses. And lastly, and this is one I do struggle a bit because I love my air conditioning. I am now turning off my air conditioning every hour. So I turn it on for 1 hour, let it cool, turn it off, and then turn it on again when it gets too hot. I mean, that's 8 hours less a day of air conditioning, right? It adds up. So I would like to inspire all of us human beings, planet, citizens that we do share one beautiful earth, and if all of us just save that little water, that little electricity, that little food wastage, uses this much less plastic, we all make a difference. And lastly, again, I would love once again to thank the organization committee of the Inspired Conference for pulling in such amazing experts, as well as a shout out here to Michael, who brought in the amazing tech platform, which allows us using EdSpace to interact with each other on a video and a visual point of view. I think a lot of conferences, yes, I see people sending me messages and questions, on the chat room, but being able to respond in a video kind of makes it cool, right? Especially when these videos can be kept for 7 days and you can use it for future reference. So on that note, to end this amazing Inspired Conference 2020, I would encourage everyone, again, to look up at the SDG goals, pick one, own it, act on it, and share what you have done to continue inspiring everyone, older and younger, to pick up the baton and make this world a better and a more sustainable place. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and thank you again.